The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Anna Chen stepped forward, her boots echoing against the crystalline floor. Behind her, Captain Lewis Morrison stood at attention, his military uniform bearing the scars of countless battles humanity had never wanted to fight. For 300 years, humanity had been the galaxy's punching bag, the universe's joke, the species that said please and thank you while others took and took and took. Anna's hands trembled slightly as she gripped the data pad containing Earth's final message to the stars. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times, but now, standing before the assembled representatives of 47 alien civilizations, the weight of her words felt crushing. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. "I come before you not with a plea but with a declaration." The Vraxian ambassador, a towering insectoid creature whose species had been borrowing human technology for decades, clicked his mandibles dismissively. "Another human complaint. How tiresome. Perhaps if your species had evolved with proper strength instead of sentiment." "We're done," Anna interrupted, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. The silence that followed was absolute. Lewis stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. Images flickered to life. Human colonies burned to ash by Krillian raiders. Children taken as slaves by the Sorthax Collective. Mining stations stripped bare by allied civilizations who never paid a single credit. Scientists whose discoveries were stolen and patented by alien corporations. Diplomats assassinated when they dared to protest. "For 3 centuries," Anna continued, "humanity has played by your rules. We joined your councils, we signed your treaties, we opened our borders, shared our resources, offered our friendship. And in return," she gestured to the holographic carnage, "you took everything. You called us weak because we valued peace. You called us foolish because we believed in cooperation. You called us naive because we thought the galaxy could be better than this." The Sorthax delegate, her crystalline form pulsing with indignation, rose to speak. "The strong survive, human. This is the way of the cosmos. Your species' insistence on these primitive concepts of fairness and justice is why we're still here," Lewis interjected, his voice carrying the weight of every soldier he'd commanded, every friend he'd lost. "You mistake patience for weakness. You mistake mercy for inability. That ends today." Anna pulled up another set of data. 16 hours ago, the Krillian Empire launched what they believed would be a final assault on the Sol system. They brought 3,000 warships. They expected to find our remaining defense fleet of 200 vessels guarding Earth. A new hologram materialized, a battlefield in space, but not the massacre the Krillians had anticipated. "Instead," Anna said, her voice now cold as the void, "they found the full human defense initiative. Every ship we've been quietly building for the past 50 years. Every weapon system we've been developing while you mocked our primitive technology. Every strategy we've been refining while you assumed we were too gentle to fight." The hologram showed the truth. 3,000 Krillian warships reduced to debris in less than 4 hours. Not a single human vessel lost. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, some in outrage, others in barely concealed fear. The Vraxian ambassador's mandibles clacked in what Lewis had learned to recognize as panic. Anna waited for the noise to subside, then continued. "You see, we've spent 3 centuries studying you, learning, adapting. While you dismissed us, we were becoming something you never expected, strong enough to match you, yet still principled enough to show restraint." She took a step closer to the assembly. "But here's what you never understood about humans. We don't want to conquer you. We don't want to subjugate you. We don't even want revenge, though the stars know we've earned it." Lewis activated another display, this one showing a comprehensive document. "This is the new Treaty of Earth. Every civilization represented here will read it, discuss it, and sign it within 30 standard days." The Sorthax delegate laughed, a sound like shattering glass. And if we refuse? Anna's expression didn't change. Then you'll learn what 300 years of pent-up human innovation in warfare looks like. We cracked quantum displacement last year. We can put a fleet anywhere in the galaxy within minutes. We solved the zero-point energy problem. Our ships don't need to refuel. And perhaps most importantly, she paused, letting the weight of her next words sink in. We've developed the Aurora Protocol, a weapons system capable of destabilizing stars. We can turn your home suns into supernovas, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The chamber fell deathly silent. Even the normally boisterous Krogan delegation sat frozen, their warrior culture suddenly confronted with a threat they couldn't fight with tooth and claw. But we won't, Anna said softly. Because despite everything you've done to us, we still believe there's a better way. We still believe the galaxy can be a place where civilizations cooperate rather than conquer, where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them, where intelligence and compassion are valued as much as military might. Lewis stepped forward beside her. The new treaty is simple. No more slavery of any species, no more piracy, no more corporate exploitation, no more assassination of diplomats, no more theft of intellectual property. Every civilization gets a fair voice. Every species is protected. Trade becomes genuinely mutual. Disputes are settled through arbitration, not warfare. And if anyone breaks these terms, Anna continued, humanity will enforce them. Not because we want to be your rulers, but because someone needs to make sure the bullies of the galaxy finally face consequences. The Vraxian ambassador found his voice. You would make yourselves the police of the galaxy, the arbiters of morality. No, Anna said firmly. We're establishing a system where might doesn't make right, where civilizations can't simply do whatever they want to those weaker than themselves. Call it what you will. But this is the price of your cruelty. You pushed humanity to the edge, forced us to become weapons. Now we're choosing to be shields instead. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes or optical sensors or electromagnetic fields of each delegate. You called us weak for 300 years. You were wrong. We were just waiting, learning, hoping that eventually the galaxy would choose to be better. But you never did, Lewis added. So we're going to help you make that choice. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing real-time feeds from across the galaxy. Human fleets positioned near every major civilization's home system, not attacking, not threatening, just present, waiting. 30 days, Anna repeated. Read the treaty, debate it. Hate us for forcing your hand if you must, but understand this. The age of the strong devouring the weak is over. Humanity has said enough, and we have the power to make that word mean something. She straightened her jacket, preparing to leave the chamber. We would prefer to do this as friends, as equals, as a true galactic community. But make no mistake, this is happening whether you embrace it or resist it. The only question is whether the galaxy moves forward into a new era of cooperation, or whether we have to drag you there by force. As Anna and Lewis turned to leave, the Krogan war chief, a species that respected strength above all else, rose slowly from his seat. His gravelly voice rumbled through the chamber. For 300 cycles we mocked the humans, called them soft, weak, we were fools. He looked at Anna with something that might have been respect. They were simply choosing not to be monsters. That is not weakness. That is strength we could never comprehend. He thumped his chest in salute. The Krogan clans will sign your treaty, not because we fear your weapons, but because we finally recognize warriors when we see them, and true warriors know when the battle is over. One by one, other delegates began to murmur agreement. Not all of them. Some plotted resistance. Some schemed for ways around the new order, but enough understood the fundamental shift that had occurred. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy. They'd simply refused to be victims anymore. As Anna and Louis walked through the corridors of the council station, heading back to their ship, Louis allowed himself a small smile. Think it'll work. Think they'll actually change. Anna considered the question. Some will, some won't, but they'll all think twice before victimizing the innocent again, and that's a start. 300 years is a long time to wait for justice, Louis observed. Yes, Anna agreed. But maybe that's the most human thing about us. We never stopped believing that justice could come, even when every piece of evidence suggested otherwise. Their ship, the UHDF Resilience, waited in the docking bay. As they boarded, Anna looked back one last time at the council chamber visible through the viewport. "We didn't want this," she whispered. "We never wanted to be the strong ones, the enforcers, the ones everyone fears." Louis placed a hand on her shoulder. "But when no one else would stand up for what's right, we didn't have a choice." Anna nodded slowly. "I just hope that someday we can put down these weapons and go back to being what we were, explorers, scientists, dreamers." "We will," Louis assured her. "But first, we make sure there's a galaxy worth exploring, one where dreamers don't get crushed by nightmares." As the Resilience pulled away from the station, Earth's message transmitted across every channel, every frequency, to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity has said enough. The age of cruelty is over. The age of cooperation begins now. To those who would be our friends, welcome. To those who would continue as our enemies, learn. And to those who prey upon the weak, run. Because humanity is done watching injustice reign among the stars. It was a message no civilization would forget. The day the humans finally stopped asking politely and started demanding change. The day humanity transformed from the galaxy's victim into its conscience. The day humans at last said enough. And the universe would never be the same. Epilogue. 50 years later, Ambassador Anna Chen's granddaughter would stand in that same council chamber, receiving the Galactic Peace Medal. The galaxy had changed, not perfectly, not completely, but profoundly. The treaty had held, slavery was extinct, piracy was rare, exploitation had consequences, and humanity, having proven they could be the galaxy's sword, had chosen instead to be its shield. They had stopped the bullies not by becoming them, but by showing that strength and compassion weren't opposites, they were partners. And across the stars, children of 100 species grew up in a galaxy where the strong protected the weak, where cooperation trumped conquest, and where one species' refusal to accept injustice had changed everything. The day humans said enough had become legend, but more importantly, it had become the foundation of a better tomorrow. That perhaps was the most human thing of all.